ever come in?
No, he hates the snow.
Does he? Well, that's why he's in Vegas, right?
So I'm gonna try, I might try to see him like in February.
I haven't heard back.
Okay,
It
yeah.
could be in the emails and I haven't looked.
And then,
reached
yeah,
out
so
to
my
the
parents are
clerk's
here.
office.
and
I haven't looked at your
kind of like
second
their
email,
friends
but
who
I'm
Interview the two
kids
candidates.
now
Probably.
with
I'm
due
hopeful.
dates on different days. So
Sure.
we're gonna get 2 or 3 of them from couples
Like the
to
interview
their
there,
house
too.
on Christmas Day.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
we do the Shepherd
on track.
family Costco pot pie.
Oh, you mentioned that pot pie.
And then actually I need to
Yeah.
order, I keep forgetting because the weekend, I need to order a cake from, I usually get something from
Really like the other two candidates.
Okay.
you know, Sweet Tartlet when they do their pop-ups for the holiday dessert then.
Sure,
Nice.
sure.
That.
On paper, it was.
Cool.
Yeah. and then
You have
we're-
your routine.
We're Italian Catholic, so we do like presents and stuff usually on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And Christmas Day we'll have people over to eat.
Yeah, we do the Feast of Seven Fishes.
You
on
do?
Christmas
Wanted
Eve.
to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Always
it's
wanted to
fun.
do that.
And
Oh
it's
my
like
gosh.
7 courses of little bits of seafood. It kind of like extends
That's
the gift
yum.
opening, you know, and there's cocktails, and it's like, it's nice. It works.
And you enjoy cooking, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
I
want to
don't
get
know,
them
and
every year.
I'm curious.
Yeah, it's fun.
What was the
Well,
role
you guys are
of
doing, actually, I'm kind of mad, or
the
mad at my
Parks and
family.
Rec board?
Like that, they do,
Like what discussions did they have?
We do a
about this?
Misfits Christmas Eve pizza party.
Oh, okay.
Jim does wood-fired pizzas all night, and then
Oh.
people can just drop in and have a, you know,
Well,
make a
that's us,
pizza.
something.
Have the pizza.
Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. We're going to wait another minute here while our teams kind of
Sweet.
filter in from their normal daily spots, and we'll start the meeting in just a couple minutes here.
We have a wood
I'm not a
fire
design
oven
person,
giving him
but
a heads up.
That's right. Okay.
outside.
That's
Nice,
awesome.
nice.
Yeah,
pallets.
awesome.
We have an 82-year-old
You're very
neighbor.
used
He's
to the
really
blue
cool.
white.
You know, like
So this,
he just
in a
got
way,
one
it's
of
a big
those
shift to
like
go to,
ovens. He's like
this
cooking
is
up all these
all-purpose
pizzas,
state
inviting
park
everybody
national
over.
park
He's
pallet,
always into something new.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got this from
Which maybe isn't
hardware
bad,
of all
but
places.
that
They
way it
drove
says
it down
Davis the park.
Elmwood on the forklift to our,
Quite a production. That's
That's so
awesome.
awesome, though.
yeah.
It was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, you're the neighborhood attraction.
Yeah, so I'm,
Jim Stanley knows
like
how
I'm
to
willing to go along.
He
but
does.
it
get
just
stuff
seems like
done.
He does.
Good.
I'm gonna finish my cookie.
top priority.
We're gonna let Mark get settled in, I'm gonna finish my cookie, we're gonna.
Investment in the park.
And we need
Yeah.
5 votes
Jackie
for everything
made,
on this agenda,
Okay.
actually.
They play around equipments and whatever
Well-
else,
We're going to skip announcements.
benches,
Okay.
Yep.
whatever, yeah.
Oh, actually, really quick, well, Mark, get set up really quick, I just have to.
So I'm willing,
I just meant to
they
ask
make
her
a good
what's your
case
phone
for
number.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Are you trying to go higher?
There's little,
Oh,
I like sat in it and it was like,
oh, yeah, that's, it's quite wobbly.
Sounds like you're making progress there.
such a weird chair.
It was a weird chair.
First, I was like,
There we
what
go,
is
nice
this?
and tight.
What is that?
When I sat down, I like fell back in
probably
it.
for the
Like,
Oh,
I
no.
try not to touch anything because I feel like it's an ejection.
The Barca lounger. of-
No.
I
Goes
know,
lower
like,
chair.
Slatted
Thrown
on the
right out.
ceiling.
The last batch of bread did not, was too bitter, but when, like, I know what we did wrong, so the next
see, January
massive
5th, Frank?
loaf of Latvian rye.
January
bread,
5th?
I'm hiding it from my family.
Secret stash.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us here. We have our special meeting of today. I have to remember what date it is, December 15th. I'll call the meeting to order, and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. What? Okay. Well, there's 5 of us. There's 5 of us.
Okay.
And then I'll, real quickly, sorry about my device here. We'd like to begin our meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the territory of the Ottawa and Chippewa peoples, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. Thank you for your strength and resilience in protecting this land and inspiring us to uphold our responsibilities to do the same. So now I will turn it over to our clerk, which in this case today is going to be Sarah, or are you acting as
To
clerk?
do roll call? Yes.
Yes. We have it's our unusual meeting day, so we've got a little bit of a shift here in how we're going to be handling responsibilities.
Sure. Commissioner Werner,
Here,
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Commissioner Treadwell,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Stanley. Here. Mayor.
Here. Well, I am delighted. We added a couple of things. As our last meeting, we said we might not meet for a month, but we have a really good reason to get back together today, and there's a couple extra items on the agenda. But the big one is, after 2 long years, we have an appointment before us for the city treasurer. And I would just want to take a moment, and I know that staff will say this too, but as somebody who's been here those 2 years and watched as the staff heroically stepped up to the plate to help us out through all of the interim positions, Jana and Brian, and even I know Bill Tweetmeyer's popped his head in a few times to help. So we really appreciate how much work the staff and all of the staff really put in together to help each other out to get through this. But I'm really excited today that we have a city treasurer candidate before us, or hire before us.
Yes, thank you for acknowledging the work in the city treasurer's office. A lot of people have really pulled together during this period that's been sort of long-standing, where we haven't had permanent leadership in that city treasurer finance director position. And so that's really been for about 3 years totally, actually. And so over the last period of time, the city conducted 2 recruitment efforts. One that was largely and solely handled by our Human Resources Department. Then we augmented that by getting some additional assistance from GovHR. And that second recruitment effort was launched in October. And we had 4 applicants that the Human Resources Director, Christine Bosley, myself, Interim City Manager Nate Geinzer, and Jason Johnson from our HR department served on that interview team, and we were thrilled that it was unanimous. It was a resounding decision that we're excited to bring in front of you for your approval, appointing Heidi Sheppy as the city's finance director and treasurer. Ms. Sheppy has served for, I believe, since 2012 as the Grand Traverse County treasurer, and she has experience in literally every area that the city treasurer position touches. And she's got a lot of great working relationships, not only with the staff in our city treasurer's office, but people throughout the city and county organization. And so we know that she can step in on day one and fill the role. And of course, this particular appointment requires city commission approval. The staff, I will say too, in the treasurer's office is absolutely thrilled, as well as staff throughout the city organization, that this particular person is being brought before you. And before you entertain a motion, I just wanted to ask Ms. Sheppy if you could come to the podium and just introduce yourself and just provide a brief introduction. And then if there's any questions that the commission has, but they, of course, have your extensive resume and report that you most recently produced from your role as county treasurer, and we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, my name is Heidi Sheppy, born and raised Traverse City, so I have been doing the circle my whole life. I love downtown. I worked when I was younger at the Traverse City Shirt Company downtown, and I'm working with the staff. Bill Tweetmeyer, I was a mentor of mine when I first started, when Bill Rokas retired, and just looking forward to getting in and rolling up my sleeves. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? All right. Thank you, Heidi. This is so great. Thank you for coming today, too, to be part of this.
Thank you.
So I'll turn back to the commission.
I guess I can have one question for the person. Sorry, didn't speak soon enough. What do you see as the biggest difference in your role transitioning to the city?
In the county, I have the unfortunate job of foreclosure, where with delinquent property taxes in the city, I have the opportunity to collect and work with them on the forefront to potentially avoid that potential. And in the county, I used to work in the finance department, which is payables and payroll. I don't do that anymore, so that'll be something I'll have to go back to do in the treasurer's office.
Thank you.
Right.
But you had those responsibilities in the finance department.
I did,
right?
yes.
Well, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Yes,
And at this point, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to discuss on the matter, I would take a motion.
I'll make a motion that the resolution approving interim city manager Nate Geinzer's appointment of Heidi Sheppy as city finance director, treasurer, which is supported by incoming city manager Liz Vogel, be adopted with the appointment to be effective upon Ms. Sheppy taking the constitutional oath of office, and that the signature of Ms. Sheppy be certified on all city financial accounts and instruments and co-signer with the city clerk.
Support.
All right, Mark. Thank you, Maya, and thank you, Mark. And I just, actually, in the excitement, I forgot to mention that even though Liz has not officially taken over as city manager, she was involved in some of the interviews and had chances to speak with Heidi, and so she was very actively involved in the hiring process as well. So this is a seamless, part of a seamless transition that Nate and Liz were able to work on as well. So we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Welcome, Heidi. All right, and it looks like we got a little bit of excitement going on here, so we added a couple quick items to this special meeting. That was our highlight, but we also then here have Polly Cairns here with Benjamin to talk about the tax appeals.
Yeah, so we have a couple of pending tax appeals for which we need professional appraisal services for. It's necessary. We have to do this as part of the process. And so the city assessor has recommended Integra Realty Property Resources, which is also supported by the special legal counsel that works on tax tribunal matters. So that's really it.
Great. Anybody have any questions or want to make a motion?
I move that the city manager be authorized to issue a purchase order to Integra Realty Property Resources in the amount of $26,000 for appraisals in connection with property tax appeals, with funds to come from the city assessor budget.
I second.
Thank you, Jackie. A motion by Mitch, second by Jackie. Is there any further questions or comments on this one? Any? Okay.
Is there a lot of appeals annually?
Polly. Good question. Yeah.
I'm just curious if we're spending
Polly
26
Cairns.
grand to
City assessor.
get 5 grand.
No, we have 4. These appeals actually involve 3 properties. So one of the petitioners owns 2 pieces of property, the other one has 1. We have 4 appeals out for valuation, and I believe 4 appeals out for exemption, but they're already in the process of the Michigan Tax Tribunal pending their opinion. So no, we've had not that many on valuation in the last few years.
And, I mean, just assuming that the amount that's being like contested or appealed exceeds far beyond the amount we're spending here.
I'm sorry?
The amount that we're spending to evaluate this far exceeds, or doesn't exceed the amount that we're hoping. We're not spending $10 to get $2, right?
No,
Yeah.
no. There's significant appeals, and I apologize for how the PDF came out, because I had the taxable value, the true cash value, and the SEV in conjunction with what the petitioner is requesting, the differences, and it kind of pushed it all together. So it's very hard to read. I'll try something different for next time. But there are significant amounts in the appeals, and we always encourage the petitioner to reach out and see if we can have settlement negotiations, because if we don't have to spend the money on the valuation disclosures, you know, that saves everybody money. And so we do encourage them to have those communications with us. But at this juncture, the tribunal tells us when these valuations are due, and with the holidays, they're due in, I think, late January and February. So we want to make sure that our appraisers aren't behind the gun in getting that information
I
together.
appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, and then I guess I'll open up, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I will bring it back to the commission. So we have a motion by Treadwell, seconded by Anderson. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, our last item on the agenda here is park signage. This was put on because if we are to approve this, the time span on this is a long one to get it done. We do have, though, that we know this is the first time we're seeing this, though, so we do have a little bit of flexibility for the first year if we need it as well, but we thought we should put it on here for the conversation and potential action. So I will hand this back over to Benjamin, and I know our lovely park supervisor as well.
Yes, I'll just give an intro, and Michelle, if you need to fill in any blanks, please do. There's a memo in your packet from Ms. Hunt, and of course, we haven't had a consistent signage look across our parks ever, I don't think, and we certainly don't have it now, and there's different signs that need to be put in place. And so this is an exciting enhancement to our parks to help brand them and encourage their use and just have consistent presentation. And so this particular contract that's in front of you would be for the fabrication and installation of parks and recreation signs. And if you've got any questions or Ms. Hunt has anything she'd like to add, we're happy to do that. Anything you want to add, Ms. Hunt?
Hi, Michelle Hunt, Parks and Recreation Superintendent. So yes, this is for Image 360 to install and fabricate and then install the signs. So the reason it's before you today is because the fabrication process is quite long, and the timeline that we have for installation begins in late May. And upon speaking with Image 360, the fabrication process takes about that long. So we've planned it to where the installation process can happen during the summer of 2024, and then there's 2 phases in it right now. Phase 2 takes all the parks that are along Grandview Parkway and it installs them after the parkway is complete. So we're gonna try to fabricate those, but have them ready to go until after. So Clinch, the open space, Sunset Park, and then the senior center will happen around the time that the senior center will open. So that's actually gonna happen a little bit differently because the senior center sign will look the same, but will be a little bit different because it's the senior center. So that's just why it's happening now, because we need time for the fabrication process, which is a little bit, about 6 months. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the process, the bids, anything like that.
Thank you for bringing this before us. I'm coming in midway, and so I, of course, have a question looking back over our shoulder. When this was originally approved by the commission in 2022, was there a general cost estimate of what the implementation of the signage would be? And is this recommendation in line with that original expectation?
It was about 150,000 was an estimate, so it's relatively in that budget. So I was actually impressed with the bids that we got back. We got 5 back, and 2 of them were from local companies. One of them only submitted a fabrication bid, so they did not submit an installation, which is what we need. I plan to have park staff install some of the bathroom regulatory signs that will reduce some of the cost. And but the larger signs, like the monument signs that require footings, Image 360 is very skilled in doing so, so it's recommended that they continue to hold that. But yes, 150,000 was the original budgeted number from when we designed this project.
Go ahead, Tim.
Was there much discussion at the Parks and Rec Board on the color palette? I know we hear that it's like we have inconsistent signs and whatnot, but if I thought about it, to me, most of them are blue and white, like the sign behind us here.
Mm-hmm. We did. We talked about blue a lot, actually. And we had blue in the original discussion and the Parks and Rec Commission, and we talked with city staff about it, and there was a desire to not have blue and have more green and like what you see here. So we had blue, and the Parks Commission said, let's change what we have because of the desire to have it be different and refresh what we have had for so long. Those blue and white signs, there was a desire to just change it up and make them look different but refreshed and use a lot of the same materials that we had used recently along like the Boardman Lake Trail, the Core 10 steel, and the natural wood. So we tried to stay consistent with some of the other design elements that we have had over projects, and that was a nice collaboration between myself and other city staff as well as the Parks Commission. So we did have a lot of color arrangements. We had about 4 or 5 other designs, and then the Parks Commission and a lot of people from the public came and we talked that through.
Thank you. And then my other question is, how easy is it to change out what's shown on signs? Because I have concerns as far as like park rules and regulations. You know, we're apt to change things every 6 months up here. for a park. And so does it need a new sign, or can it be easily changed?
So for the kiosks, yes, it can be easily changed, and that's why the actual face of the sign is a less expensive, more aluminum sign, so those will be a cost savings there. And then for the kiosks, so we had 2 kiosks designed, one for the splash pad and one for the volleyball court rules. There's also going to be one like at the dog park. We had those designed to where there's one kiosk and then you put panels on them, so the panels can be removed and then replaced. So not the entire thing doesn't have to get replaced. You can actually put those on and off. And the park rules is something I'm making sure is correct, and we're gonna talk that through from every perspective. Lauren, I have sent my copies to the city attorney to make sure, and the clerk's office to say, before we get this printed, is this what needs to be on here, and the Parks Commission.
Great. And then thank you for all this.
Yeah.
Final question gets to a map of where all these go, because I'm hoping that it's not just, oh, we'll replace it where it was, but thought's been put into where does it make the most sense to have the sign, say, for F&M Park, and hoping that,
Yeah.
like baked into this question is that it's not just all car-centric. Like when people cross at Hall Street, maybe there's a sign there. It doesn't have to be a big monument sign, but to acknowledge that people get to our parks by various ways.
No, that's a great question, because that was one of the wonderful things about working with Corbin, and I have all that documentation if you'd like to see it. So what they went through is they did a park identification for every single park, and so say Sunset Park, when you drive down Grandview Park right now, that sign doesn't make a lot of sense. It's facing the parkway. What they did is they flipped it. So now when you, and I know this is vehicular, but when you're driving now, or when you're biking, so the sign is now flipped the other way. So it's going to be perpendicular to the road so that you're actually going to be able to see the sign. That's going to be the case with the other parks as well. We're moving the location of the F&M Park signs. So what they did is every single park, they have a layout. So all of what they call the regulatory signs, which say no alcohol in the parks, the park hours, they have a location plan for where every sign is going to go. And there's a pedestrian and a driving focus. So they actually went to every single park, which is why we advocated so heavily for hiring the local company. And they positioned every sign, and most of the signs are not in the same places that they are now.
Great,
So,
thank you.
yeah, it's really, I'm most excited about the Sunset one because it's going to make a lot more sense when you drive by it. But, and I'm happy to share if you were curious about where those locations are.
Great. Do we have any more questions or a motion? Or do people need some more information?
I'll make the motion that the mayor and city clerk execute a contract with Image 360 in the amount not to exceed $187,010 with funds to come from the Cemetery Trust Fund and Brown Bridge Trust Parks Improvement Fund as outlined in the communication from Parks and Recreation Superintendent, with such contract subject to approval as to its substance by the interim city manager and its form by the city attorney.
Any seconds?
I'll support it. And then I have a question for either the assistant city clerk or the, whoever you are
City
today.
Whoever you are today. Okay,
I'm
so.
playing myself.
So I support the motion, but does it need a 4 in there someplace? Like it never says what it's for.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, it does. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should say for parks, signage, fabrication, and installation.
Thank you.
Thank you for
That's-
catching that.
That's what,
What you just said.
yes, exactly. So Commissioner Stanley and Commissioner Warner, I assume, are okay with that? Okay, fantastic. Any other questions or comments? We've got a motion by Stanley and a second by Warner. Any public comment on this? Seeing none, we'll come back to the commission. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, everybody, thank you for making this a very efficient business meeting. Now I'm pretty confident we can say we're not meeting again before 2024. January 8th looks like we'll probably do a special meeting to cover some more business rather than our usual study session that date. We'll have some more changes at that point, all good. And in the meantime, I wish everybody the happiest of holidays and send you all on the way to enjoy the rest of your day. Welcome, Heidi. We're very excited to have you. And to all of our staff, thank you so much for getting us together on this. It took a couple efforts and we managed to do it. So
Yeah,
great
thank you.
job. So with that, meeting adjourned. Enjoy your holidays. Yeah, oh, and eat some cookies, guys.
Yeah.
Jackie made us some lovely cookies. DDA left some coffee for us. All open for